I want to thank everybody for coming to this week's town hall. We're going to start this week by talking about just some of the simulator room maintenance that normal indoor golf centers will have to do on an upkeep level. Certain things that we're going to cover today are going to be the screen system, just kind of basic maintenance, as well as the turf, ways to extend the life of the turf. We'll also dive in a little bit on the computers, the projectors, and also doing some stuff with the 3-track validation as well. So starting with the screen system, one thing I want to talk about is just some of the padding that you're going to see. A lot of our veteran indoor golf centers will understand the terminology and have been able to put together the screen system on their own, but figured we'd just kind of get on the same page with some of the terminology, ways to tighten things up, and ways that you can just help extend the life of things and obviously make sure that things on a safety level are there. So first thing is really understanding, obviously we're a dual screen system, so you've got the front screen and the rear screen. Front screen is going to be something that you replace more often, collects a lot of the dirt, gets the snags of club heads or anything that breaks off. As for padding, what you're going to look at is the larger black pads are what we call this is our carpet padding, and then the thicker pads are the mini pads. So everything with the screen system is held together with Velcro, ropes, cable ties. So very easy to pull apart. We kind of pre-pulled this out so it's easy to get, but first time you pull it out, it will have, it will have some bite to it. So looking at the screen system, obviously we have our front screen here, which is Velcroed to the rear screen. The rear screen is then plastic cable tied, heavy duty plastic cable ties to the angle iron that is either on your frame or on the wall. The bottom of the screen, as most of you know, is held up by a rope. That's giving the tension on the bottom of the screen to keep balls from escaping underneath. But ways that you're going to want to tighten that up is on the right side of all sims, you have what's called a cam cleat, very similar to the what sailors use to latch down ropes in the marine world. But it is something that is holding the rope down with teeth that will keep the tension. On the other side of the sim, you have your pad eye, which is what the rope is tied to. As the rope starts to get more and more wear on it, the teeth will bite to it. So you can adjust it and kind of move the rope around so that you're making sure that your cam cleat is holding that rope nice and snug. Periodically, it's always good to go through the simulator, getting back of the screen by loosening up your rope, climb underneath the screen, or if you've got access to getting back of it, just to check to see how all your cable ties are doing. The reason we do plastic cable ties as opposed to bungee or any sort of metal looping is that we want the cable ties to break, not the grommets of the screen or not damaging the angle iron. So these are a consumable item. They will wear out. They will break periodically. You're going to want to go around just to make sure that everything is looking good. Very easy to peel apart, put everything back together. Your screen, you always want to have it draped on the floor a little bit, not hanging in the air to allow balls to get underneath there. And putting it all back together, very simple. Just kind of follow the steps you did of assembling it by putting the mini pad on there and then pressing everything nice and tight and then tucking your rope underneath it. So with the front screen, the one thing that you want to do on a daily basis, or really based on how much usage your simulators are getting, is really check the front screen. It's always good to get a good idea as to how the screen system should look. With the front screen, one thing that you want to make sure of is that you don't have any dirt or marks or any tears that are starting to occur. If so, you just want to keep an eye on them. Any sort of general dirt from, somebody forgot to clean off their clubs or dirty golf balls, you can use stain remover Tide sticks. It is a white material. We do have some clients that also will take their front screens down and dry clean them periodically to help tighten it up, to help extend the life of it. But if you do have any holes that are starting on it, you really want to keep an eye on those holes just to make sure that they're not growing. The screens will wear and tear. You will begin to, as the balls begin to braze and crack, your front screen will wear out. Obviously, that's the first line of defense for the screen system. If it comes down to it that you do have to take the front screen down, you can run the simulators and you can operate off just the rear screen. We do have many centers that just use the rear screen as well. But on a daily basis, it's good to come and check. One thing that you really want to make sure of for the sake of your screen and the life of it is making sure that nobody is bringing any marked balls in. And what we call by marked balls are balls from the outside world that have Sharpie mark on it. Obviously, we have the 3-track marks on our ball. We, do not let anybody take a golf ball home and make a Sharpie pattern of our pattern, because those Sharpie marks will transfer onto the screen, and your client will have most likely just purchased their, this screen for replacement. So you definitely want to be careful of that as well. But keeping an eye on the screen, keeping an eye on the padding as well. A lot of the padding can get rotated. You can take the pads from the left side and move them over to the right, and vice versa. The carpet pads themselves, the way that our installation team installs it is they are a folded pad. So the hem is on the inside towards the wall or the side skin, but you could move those mini pads and as well as the carpet pads over from left to right, just to kind of even wear and tear. And then the same thing with the top carpet pad as well. The top carpet pad and the top mini pads, they will get wear and tear on them. Feel free to flip those over. You can reverse them. It all depends on the condition, but a lot of times we will have clients that will do that. That will help extend the life of these pads as well. Since the screen system takes most of the abuse within the golf simulator environment, you want to keep a close eye on it. Our team does a great job of building very durable, rugged, safe systems, but they do break down. With all the balls that are hitting them and during your busy season, definitely recommend a daily inspection just to make sure your mini pads are in place, the carpet pads are in place, the ropes on the bottom are nice and snug, cable ties are up in place, along with showcasing a nice, clean, crisp image. The screen is also here for safety to make sure that there's no balls that are getting deflected back. So in back of the screen, make sure you've got nothing that's closer than 18 inches to the center of the screen. But just a regular maintenance, regular upkeep, and just an inspection on the screen system will help extend the life of the system and obviously make for a great experience for your customers. Now that we've spent some time on the screen system, I want to focus a little bit more on the second area of abuse, and that's the ceiling. The vertical pieces of fabric that you're going to see, those are our baffles. The baffles are there to dampen the ball during any sort of lofted shot with a lot of spin. Without the baffles, what you would find is that a high lofted shot with a lot of spin would end up hitting the ceiling, hitting the screen system, and rolling out. So we do a baffle system which dampens the balls, allows it to drop to the ground without hindering anything of performance and accuracy. Our baffle systems are set up in a couple different ways. If you have a net top like we do, you'll notice that there is a bungee cord that's woven through each baffle. Now each baffle, except the front baffle, is single layered. The baffle that's closest to the screen, it might be hard to see here, is actually a double layered baffle. But all other baffles are single layered, and these are woven within the net and then tied on either side of the simulator bay. These black pieces of fabric up on the ceiling, what we call the valances, are actually protecting the grommets that are at the end of the baffles, which also are cable tied at the end. A regular maintenance and inspection of your baffle system is crucial. You want to make sure that these guys are doing their job as they wear out, which they will. They're easy to replace. If you have a fabric top skin, your baffles aren't woven, but they're Velcroed to the ceiling, as you'll probably notice. A little easier to assemble and to replace, but all in all, at the end of the day, the baffle systems are going to be there for protection. They're going to actually help protect your screen system as well, and reducing any balls that are going to fly out of the simulator or roll out of the simulator towards the golfers. Now that we spent some time on the screen system as well as the ceiling system, things that you also want to be aware of are your walls. In this simulator here, we're what's called a hybrid. We have hard carpeted walls along with a soft net top ceiling. So definitely keep an eye on your walls. If you've got full enclosures, which is probably our most popular within indoor golf centers, When you're back of the screen checking the zip ties, also check the zip ties on your side skins. The side skins are actually Velcroed on your front post, which would be up here. They wrap around the screen post, and they're also cable tied as well. Keep an eye on those as well. Those will pop loose with any errant shot or over time. So when you're in back of the screen, keep an eye on your side skins. You can also climb up on a ladder and keep an eye on the top skin or your nets. Those are also cable tied to the rear of the screen frame. It's just a good maintenance to do, probably not really on a monthly basis, but really based on usage, just to make sure that balls are staying contained inside the room and they're not escaping in back of the screen system. Now what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about turf maintenance. The turf obviously gets a lot of wear and tear, dirty shoes, whatnot, spillage, but there are certain ways that you can extend the life of your turf, from your hitting strip, your stance mats. We do have different types of turf solutions with rough cutouts, regular hitting strips. So we're just going to kind of dive into each one of those and just kind of discuss different ways to extend the life of them and how to maintain them. The hitting configuration within this widescreen does house a rough cutout. Some indoor golf centers will have the rough cutout to allow their customers to take advantage of rough shots, be able to push the ball into the mat to take those deeper, challenging shots. Most people honestly just tee it up and use it to their advantage. So you'll find that many indoor golf centers will just have a single layer hitting strip all throughout. For the stance mats, what you'll want to do is on a regular basis, we highly recommend rotating them from left to right. One side of the bay will always get worn out a little bit more, so it's good to regulate the wear marks so that it extends the life of these stance mats. If anything does spill on the putting turf, the stance mats, the hitting strips, this is an indoor-outdoor, very, very durable turf system. So Simple Green and a shop vac will vacuum up any beverages or any spillage. It is extremely durable. You don't want to use any sort of bleach product on it, but a Simple Green has been good with a shop vac. You can use a regular bristle vacuum on this to vacuum up any particles, any dirt. Should not cause any problems with it, but a beater bar vacuum or anything to kind of maintain the room is definitely best. And now what we'll do is we're going to head over to a traditional hitting strip configuration to show you some different ways to maintain that as well. So the curve environment within our showroom has our traditional hitting strip, which most people are used to. So this hitting strip, as many of you know, only really gets utilized within this central area for, the 3-track arming, the tee area. So some of the tricks that you can do is actually take this hitting strip. You could cut this into thirds. So with a sharp blade, you'll always want to cut from the rubber side. Measure out your thirds. You'll be able to slice it right from the rubber side and it will separate out. The turf is not a woven product, so you're not going to unweave the hitting strip at all. But measure out your thirds, slice it with a sharp blade, and utilizing a 3/4 inch paddle bit, you'll be able to drill your tee hole in the new sections. So once you've cut your third out, you'll lay the 3 sections back down. You can ultimately tape down the front and the back, and the only area that will need to get replaced is the center area. This is going to extend the life of your hitting strip tremendously. Also recommend rotating it, getting an even wear on it. As we talked about on the widescreen, rotating your stance mats will help even the wear out within the room. But cutting your hitting strip into thirds will extend the life and allow you to, keep these pieces in place for the whole time and just replace this. And finally, in the last section of today's town hall, we want to go over a little bit of the technology. One is the 3-track validation. Simple way within the game that you can check how the system is tracking, how it's performing on an accuracy level, making sure that it's getting good data points, and also ways that you can send this to our development team if you are seeing anything that's a little off. And then finally, we'll go over a little bit about computer projector maintenance, just keeping the filters clean, making sure that they're breathing properly, and helping extend the life of those as well. So let's go take a look. So a very simple way that you can check to see how the 3-track system is performing and providing accuracy is within the post-shot information. Down in the lower left-hand corner right here, you'll see the 3-track button. If you click on that, it'll give you 3 options to send, view, or cancel. Take a look at it through the view option. And within here, what you're going to be able to see is how the system performed. So really the essential data right here is giving us the spin confidence as well as the trajectory confidence. These 2 numbers are going to give you feedback on how the system measured. So spin confidence, obviously anything we really do want to see is closest to 1.0. It will never be 1.0, but 0.98 is very good. Anything above 0.9 is good. You'll get a high measurement on that. And trajectory confidence, we really want to see as close to 1.0. Same thing, you'll never get 1.0, but 0.98 or anything above 0.95 is good. What we tell you is take about a sample of 10 shots. Every once in a while, you might get a shot that has a low spin confidence. And really the spin confidence is giving us the measurement off the markings of the ball. That's why we always recommend hitting the 3-track balls, because it's allowing us to accurately measure spin of backspin, side spin, and rifle spin. So with that, every once in a while, you will get a shot that might be in the high 8s, which is fine. But take a sample of a bunch of shots. If you are seeing anything that's regularly in the lower area, feel free to reach out. We can give you a hand with calibration. If you're seeing any really weird shots, feel free to send it over to our development team. So I'll show you that in a second, but you can also rifle through the images that the system picked up and see if there might be a T in the area, if there's anything that might have been an obstruction that the system may have picked up. You want to always make sure that your hitting area is clear. So this will allow you to kind of see what the images are, how the system read it. But this is a nice, easy way to validate the system, just to make sure that it's, measuring things properly. Something that you can do, every once in a while throughout your simulators, just to check. And again, we're here to give you a hand if you need anything. If you ever want to send us, if you're seeing any really weird shots, you can hit the send button, title it. It's going to ask you to title that shot. Just, report in what it's doing, just a quick sentence, and this will go right to our development team and they can take a look at it as well. And so for general computer maintenance, some of the things that you'll want to take a look at is just to make sure that your vents are nice and clear. All of our rack mount PCs as well as our tower PCs have removable panels that you can take off and remove any of the dust. The rack mount PCs, typically you're going to want to do this while the computer's off, but I'm just going to open this. This right here has a filter on the face of it. There is a fan running in here, but feel free to take canned air and blow it out of the unit. This is a internal fan that will do intake. So you want to make sure that you're not blowing canned air into your PC, but blow it out. You can also take the side panels off if you have one of our mini rack mounts. But with a towered PC as well, what you can do is unplug the PC. You can take the side panels off and just take some canned air and blow it out. Blow your ductwork out, just to make sure that the systems are breathing properly and that they're getting enough circulation. As for the projector, some simple things that you can do are even lightly dusting off the lenses. There will be a lot of dust that gets thrown around in your bays. So doing regular dust removal within your PCs as well as the projector is highly recommended. All depends on how much dust you do have in your facility. With people coming in, with the striking of the ball on the hitting mat, it does stir up a lot of dust. But one of the major things that you want to do with your projector, and every projector model is different, is to check the filter. So this Panasonic has the filter right off the side. It's got 2 little clips on it. This filter can be removed and then taken out and blown out with some canned air or vacuumed out. Same thing with the projector as with the computer. You don't want to blow any canned air in. You want to only, get it out. So utilizing a vacuum to suck that dust out. But you can use canned air on the filter to, and then putting that back in. But again, don't blow any canned air into the projector because it could damage it. Only use a vacuum on the actual unit, and then with the filter, you can use canned air. Sometimes when you're up working on the projector, the image might get out of line. So easy enough to move it around, kind of bring it back. There are some locking nuts on the projector mounts, but then the projectors will also have some micro adjustments, but you want to make sure that the image is nice and square, fitting within the frame of the carpet pads, just so that you're getting the fullest image possible.